don't you come out? We can drive away tonight. Why don't you come out? I can take you for a ride. Why don't you come out? Tonight's the night.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle Murphy, and you're listening to Down in the Valley with Appeal.
I just realized. How are you doing, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Down in the Valley, episode 13 to be exact. My name is Edson Ochoa, and I'll be your host for today. And before we start, I want to let you all know to be sure to check out our friends at the Beautiful Game Network. Follow them on Twitter at bgn.fm or the BGNFM. Check out their website at bgn.fm. And while you're there, check out not only our podcast, Down in the Valley, but also other USL podcasts like the USL Show, Sock Takes, Mongols, Backchat Show, etc., etc. Give them a like as well. Follow them on Twitter. You know, support USL podcasts in any way, shape, or form. The sport can only grow so much, and it's we really need your support. Also, be sure to if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give this stream a like. Share it with your friends, of course. Give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel so that way you'll receive notifications when we upload videos, as well as whenever we go live on YouTube. Be sure to check out our website at downintheRGV.com, as well as our other streaming options where we will be have our podcasts available to stream, which would be SoundCloud, Google Play Store, the Apple Music, as well as Stitcher. So, having said all this, welcome. It's Thursday. I know I know it's Holy Week right now. Yesterday, usually I stream every Wednesday at 7, but it was kind of weird because I had something come up at work that I needed to stay over, as well as the weather wasn't helping. It was raining really hard and the traffic was horrible. So I didn't want to risk getting into an accident or anything because of me trying to make it back to the apartment in a hurry. So I said, you know what, I'm going to play it safe, and I'm just going to go ahead and move it to tomorrow, in other words, today. So other than that, it's been a really, really, really great week. It is really interesting, though, because I think weather really played a huge factor this week. Yesterday, the Toros were supposed to play against the Reno 1868, but due to this same cold front that passed through Houston, that on Tuesday it passed through the Dallas area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, and so they ended up having to cancel some flights, and that affected Reno 1868's team to be able to make it to the Rio Grande Valley, and so they ended up moving that game to May 2nd. So it is also going to be early in the morning. It will be at 10:30 p.m. a.m. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. So it'll be at 10:30 a.m. It'll be on a Wednesday, I believe, May 2nd, and will be available for the kids. I'm assuming it'll be for Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District, where they will be getting over there in a kind of field trip manner and go watch the Toros play against Reno 1868. However, if I'm not mistaken, the regular crowd, the regular fans can also, be able to attend if you're willing to wake up early, to go. So, other than that, let's go ahead and jump into what's going to be this. Actually, I really wanted to go a little bit more in depth about last week's, or not last week, but the week before, week one's game against St. Louis FC. I know we really did not have much time to really go into depth about it because we had Carson on, and we also had Ray Silva. So I didn't really get a chance to put in my point of view into what I saw in this game. I was kind of rushed over. So we'll go ahead and start with that. The good things that I saw was that the Toros looked really, really good. They looked dynamic. More often than not in the game against St. Louis FC. Crisp passing, looking for the wings, whether it was for Zach Wright or it was against or Chuy Enriquez, looking for those wingers and try to, beat them with pace or with, dribbling and look for crosses inside, or they would even try. I would see some occasions where they would try to go through the inside with Pablo Aguilar and Saldivar, and occasionally you would see as well Todd Warden, a little bit higher up on the pitch than usual, trying to. I know he had a really, really good long shot that the goalkeeper was able to save and to send it for a corner, but they looked good for the most part. They maybe need to work a little bit on their finishing. However, the pitch didn't really help, at least in my opinion. I don't understand why stadiums or why groundskeepers of stadiums tend to want to water the grass before the game and during halftime. I feel like that's a risk that won't help the players, and we saw a lot of that. We saw, especially in the first half, we saw a lot of players slipping on the ground, and they weren't able to take advantage of any plays that they had because they would slip. I know there was one where what was his name? I think his name is Delgado. We'll go over once again the starting 11 for that game. But Delgado had one and a cross by Zach Wright, and had he not slipped, I felt that they would have had a really, really good chance to score in the first half, and that could have changed, drastically the way that the game was going to be played. I felt that maybe had we scored, it would have opened up a lot more possibilities because St. Louis would have had to go out in the attack more to try to look for the equalizer, and maybe the Toros with Pablo Aguilar and Chuy Enriquez not as fatigued as they were, obviously in the end when Pablo Aguilar ended up did end up scoring, you know, there could have been an opportunity to make it 2-0. But como like they say in Spanish, el hubiera no existe. Whatever happened, happened. So let's go ahead and jump into the starting 11 once again. So we had as our goalkeeper, it was a surprise, but we did have Nicholas Cordy as the starting goalkeeper. A lot of people thought that, well, maybe we would have, what's his name, Matt Sanchez, as starting, because he did start against San Antonio. But I'm guessing that Coach Echeverry saw what both Sean and I saw when we went to go see RGV play against San Antonio in San Antonio, that Matt Sanchez tended to be a little bit, how can I explain it? More than anything, he didn't look comfortable grabbing the ball, or he did not have enough confidence in him to be able to grab the ball correctly. He spilled a couple of shots from the San Antonio attack, and one of them was actually cleared out on the line by Connor Donovan. So he saw that more than likely, and he decided to give Nico Cordy a chance. And wow, did he actually! I felt he looked good, but we'll go in more into depth later on about that. Just remember, guys, that we will be making some changes to Down in the Valley, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Just like I said 2 days ago during the Houston Soccer Power Hour. So we'll go ahead and go to the defenders. We did have Kai Green as the right back, Connor Donovan, Kyle Adams as the pair of center backs, as well as Derek Luke left back, which is what we saw as the starting 11 for the Toros against San Antonio. And they looked decent. Like we said that episode, we felt that Derek Luke did not look good. He looked a little bit shaky. But I felt that in this game, he had better. He looked way better than when he did against San Antonio. Maybe he might be getting some more confidence back from from his injury, from recovering from his injury, or maybe like Gerson said in the interview we had with him, maybe the communication between him and Chewy. Whenever we lose possession and we have to go back, maybe that got better. They're starting to understand each other more, so that's why maybe you didn't see Luke exposed as much as he did against San Antonio, and that's a really good sign. Midfielders, we had four midfielders. I go to get a compadre. There we go. So we had Zach Wright as our right winger. We had Todd Warden and Saldivar as our center midfielders. Todd Warden tended to be a little bit more defensive than Saldivar, so that was pretty interesting. Like I said before, usually we're used to seeing two defensive-minded center midfielders, whether it was with Todd Warden and Jorginho James, or when Charlie Ward and Jorginho, or Charlie Ward and occasionally you would see Joe Holland, although Joe Holland looked to be a little bit more offensive-minded, but really not as much as Saldivar. And then we had Chuy Enriquez also, but this time on the left wing, where it looks like Gerson Echeverry is going to be placing him there. And I really do have the confidence in this young lad that he is going to do a good job. And it showed against St. Louis. And then we have our forwards, our attackers. We had the center attacking midfielder. We had Pablo Aguilar. I do know that Gerson kind of made it seem like he was playing at an 8, as an 8 position. More of a not as attacking minded. But I do feel that Aguilar is more defensive minded. He was higher up the pitch than either Todd Warden or Saldivar. So, it's interesting. He did mention, and I'll go ahead and post the interview later on about, what he thought about Pablo Aguilar and things like that. And so then you also have Delgado, who is who was our striker. Y pasó muy desapercibido. Didn't really see much out of him. The only one that he had was the one where I mentioned before, where he slipped. So, I guess it's just some growing pains. He just has to get used to, because honestly, it's the first time I had seen him. So he's a Spaniard. So will be interesting to see how he develops with the Toros as he gets more confidence, as he gets, more playing time with his new teammates. You get a better understanding how they play, how Chuy Enriquez plays, how Zach Wright plays, how John Montaño plays. And so we might see better of him. We've also got Jordan Jones that came in the second half. So those two players are going to be pretty interested to see how they're going to work in this in this formation with Gerson Echeverry. Are they going to be target men? Are they going to be more mobile than just being that target man? They're going to, in other words, are they going to be a more mano manuta stuff, who tends to be more dynamic rather than just staying inside the box, or is he going to be someone like Chicharito, who tends to stay inside the area waiting for balls to be crossed into him so that way he can finish them off? So will be very interesting to see that this weekend against Sacramento Republic. Who knows what kind of changes Gerson Echeverry has for this weekend against Sacramento, because obviously we know that Sacramento plays much different than St. Louis. St. Louis is also coming from a rebuilding stage. We talked with Mitch about it, and they also got rid of their coach, and most of the roster was changed. So and go back to the regular. Come on, there we go. So most of the roster was changed, and so they also needed to get on a roll with each other and develop that chemistry. Whereas Sacramento, if I'm not mistaken, has most of their core team still. And right now, if you see the standings, Sacramento is actually 2-0 in the USL. And so, let me put it. I just had it over here. So they're 2-0. They defeated at home. They defeated San Antonio FC by the score of 2-1. And then they won away at Orange County SC. They won 1-0. So they're looking to continue that stride against the Toros this weekend. And the Toros had a bye week last week. They did not. Well, not technically not a bye week, because I'm assuming that the week 2 game was going to be that Reno game. It's just that they moved it to the to midweek. No, actually, okay. Oh, they already reflected the changes. So this is going to be a week 3 game. They technically accidentally had a bye for week number 2 because of the whole Reno dilemma with the rain, and so they have that disadvantage that they don't have like official. How can I say it? Trying to think of the word, but basically, the match fitness. Obviously, from what I heard, the Toros played the Dynamo in a scrimmage this past weekend, taking advantage that the Dynamo was also on a bye week in the MLS. So but it's not the same comparing a friendly scrimmage to an official game. So we'll see how the Toros will react to that. So let's go ahead and look at what Sacramento Republic has done so far. So if we go ahead and analyze them, in their first game, like I said, they played against San Antonio FC. And so San Antonio, like I said, what made it deep into the playoffs last year. And so, as far as what I can see, the stats from that game, 46.5% of possession went to Sacramento, 53.5% went to San Antonio. We had as well 5 corners for San Antonio, 2 corners for Sacramento. In the attack, you had 13 shots in total by Sacramento Republic, 10 shots in total from San Antonio FC. But on target, you had 6 shots on target from Sacramento and only 3 from San Antonio. So you're talking about a little bit less than 50% accuracy from Sacramento, whereas 30% for San Antonio. What else is... Okay, yeah. Okay, so shooting accuracy, officially they have it at 46.2% for Sacramento and, like I said, 30% for San Antonio. The goal scorer for both goals was Acel, who is a forward, and it looks like they were playing on a 4-4-2 formation. So Christian Eisel, I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. So he's an American. He's a 25-year-old American. He's 6'2". He's played 2 games, 143 minutes played, 2 starts, 2 sub-offs. And like I said, so he's got 1 goal inside the box. I don't know why they haven't... Okay, this is weird. So the USL website has him as only scoring 1 goal. Unless I'm reading this wrong. Hold on, let me check this again. But I could swear that it's got 2 goals on him. Okay. So the first goal was scored by Aleman in the 45th plus 2 minute. In other words, in the 47th minute of the first half. The second goal was scored by... So the first one was Kevin Aleman, and the second one was Christian Eisel in the 48th minute. And then San Antonio was able to get one back by Mikey Lopez scored in the 68th minute, and that was pretty much it for that game. So against San Antonio, they started with Cohen on goal, Gomez, Partain, Seiler, and Tainter as the defenders, Hall, the captain, Aleman, Jaime Villarreal, and Bijev as the midfielders, and 2 forwards with Isel and Iwasa. So I guess you can say it was a 4-4-2 for them. Yeah, it's a 4-4-1-1 actually. So Josh Cohen, Shannon Gomez, Cole Seiler, Mitchell Tainter, Hayden Parfait, Villian Bijev, Jaime Villarreal, and Jeremy Hall as the defensive midfielders, and then Kevin Aleman as the right midfielder, and then Cameron Iwasa behind Christian Eisel. So 4-4-1-1 is what the USL has Sacramento Republic playing. And their substitutes, they brought in Luis Espino Vasquez, Justin Schmidt, and Adam Moffat. Is it the one who... Yes. Do you remember, Dynamo fans, do you remember what was called, what was it, the Moffat Rocket or something like that? Well, he tended to score a lot from long-range efforts. So yeah, he is now playing with Sacramento Republic in the USL, which is interesting. So then last weekend, they went to Orange County and they played them, one on the road, which is really good for a USL team. The starting 11 there was pretty much unchanged. So they had Josh Cohen, Cole Seiler, Shannon Gomez, Cole Seiler, Mitchell Tainter, Hayden Parfait, Kevin Aleman, Jeremy Hall, Jaime Villarreal, Viljan Bijev, Cameron Iwasa, and Christian Eisel. So honestly, they really did not make much, if any, changes to their starting 11. So we can pretty much assume that this will be the starting 11 against RGVFC, pending any injuries or whatever. But they seem to be very consistent with their starting 11, which helps with with chemistry between the team. They brought in as substitutes Wilson Nishaw and Adam Moffat once again. So we're almost hitting the 30-minute mark. So we're going to go ahead and go on our first break. When we come back, we will be talking more about the history between these two teams, whether the Toros and the Sacramento Republic. So when we come back, we'll talk about that, and be sure to share the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to also, like I said, check out our friends at the BGN podcast, the BGN network, and invite all your friends. Come on, invite all your Toros fans to the stream. We will be making a short. It'll be kind of short. We usually do 2-hour episodes. This time I'm only going to do like an hour and a half, depending on how we do. Be sure, if whoever you are, that one person who is watching, thank you for your support. Invite all your friends to come watch this. And if you have any questions, be sure to put them in the chat, and we'll try. I'll try to answer it as best as I can. So don't leave yet. We will be back in a minute. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. And as we were talking before we went on break, I wanted to talk about, the previous match between Sacramento and RGVFC, which doesn't really give really good memories, at least for me, because honestly, the game that I always bring up between RGVFC and Sacramento, and you can find it as well, the article I wrote about it on at that time it was Carga Naranja, now is Down in the Valley, have its version of it as well. But it was like how bad they played. I mean, they looked really lackluster out there. And hold on. it was just sad seeing players that were not putting in their effort, especially the, you know, who I always talk about, and that is, man, I actually forgot his name. That's how much I wanted to forget about him. But I mean, if you guys check out the article, I'll go ahead and post it on the chat. I have on there posted I guess you can see the highlights of that game against Sacramento. It was that 6-2 game. So that time we had as our starting 11, we had Borja Anguitia, Kai Green, Robbie Sago, Ivan Megales, Victor Garza, Charlie Ward, Emilio Garcia, TJ Kastner, Jose Escalante, Eric Bird, and Todd Warden. And so we ended up losing 6-2. And the one who really, I was so disappointed was Robbie Sago. And looks like the videos are still up from the Twitter. So go ahead and check it out there. See what I'm talking about. See why I looked very disappointed in that game. I think one of my favorite quotes that I have on there that pretty much described what I felt after that game, and it was first said again by Cristian Martinoli when Mexico lost 7-0 against Chile in the Copa America Centenario, but it pretty much described what I wanted to tell the players that game, because honestly, like after the third game, a lot of them just gave up. Like así nomás, like they just gave up. They stopped fighting for the ball. It made me feel helpless, watching it at home. So the quote that I want to say was, so he said, actitud, dignidad, amor propio, respeto a la camiseta. Si vas perdiendo 8-0, sigo jugando, buscar a matarme por la camiseta. In other words, he said, what we need is attitude, dignity, and love and self-love. Respect the uniform that you're wearing. If you're losing 8-0, you have to keep on fighting for the shirt that you're wearing. Don't just give up. And we did, and we saw that, and it was, I don't know. But hopefully it does not happen again. But I highly doubt it. These new players really are different. Now, right now, okay, help me out here. Record versus. Trying to find again, okay, so against Sacramento. So against Sacramento, we have played 5 matches. We've played 5 matches against Sacramento in all of our USL history. We have won 0. We have won 0 against Sacramento Republic. We have tied 2 games, and we have lost 3. So the history does not bode well for us against Sacramento Republic FC. When it comes to history, Sacramento Republic has an edge on us. But like many say, it's all about that specific moment, those 22 players playing for their respective clubs. And technically in soccer, statistics should not matter, because, and you've seen it so many times where you have 2 teams. One of them has a paternity against the other, and you'll see that all of a sudden, like, they surprise the other team and they win. So I really hope that is the case with the Toros against Sacramento. So I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was very interesting. Seeing, I know Justin would do that a lot with the in the Peel. It's just interesting to see, how we fare so far against other teams in the USL. So I'll go ahead and just bring it up. The following teams We've played them more than once, the USL teams, and we've never won at all. So there are actually 4 teams we have not beat in all of our history. Not even when we had Wilmer Cabrera as a coach. And those 4 are, like I said, Sacramento, LA Galaxy too, surprisingly. Surprisingly, one of the worst teams in the USL, and we have never won. We never beat them. We've had against them. We played them 5 times. We've tied once, and we've lost 4. -5 goal difference. And then the other one is Phoenix Rising, who we've played 3 times. We've drawn twice, and we've lost 1 with a -2 goal difference. Sacramento, we actually have a -6 goal difference. And St. Louis FC, who we played last time, we've drawn twice. So just some interesting information that I wanted to bring up between Sacramento and Rio Grande Valley FC. So let's go ahead now. We actually want to talk. So we've talked about the game against on Saturday. What are your thoughts? Be sure to put it in the chat. What are your thoughts regarding this information that I brought up to you? What do you think? How do you think we will be able to beat Sacramento? And who do you think will be in the starting 11 against Rio Grande Valley FC? So I think we can talk a little bit about last week's or the St. Louis game. So we can go ahead now that we've talked about Sacramento. Did want to talk some little things. So we're gonna go ahead and look at some of the highlights that we saw from that game against St. Louis. So this is the one I'm looking at right now. Is the 27th minute. We have Pablo Aguilar sends the ball back to Todd Warden from 3/4 of the field. He takes the shot right from out there. Good save by the goalkeeper. Then in the 29th minute, you have, that's Pablo Aguilar sends it to Todd. First touch. And another shot from outside. So, interestingly, and this is what I enjoy. I enjoy seeing players that are not afraid to shoot from outside the box. I feel many times, many players are too afraid of hitting it so far wide and getting criticized, even though you have an opportunity to shoot from outside. Todd Warden was close, and I believe the other one was Zach Wright, if I'm not mistaken, who shot from outside the box as well. And they went pretty close. So hopefully they continue to do that. And not do it all the time, though, because it's good to have a little bit of variety. Try long-range shots, 1-2 passing, crossing from outside the box. Don't be very, very robotic. Don't be very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? But basically, don't be so focused on just one style of play that the other teams are pretty much gonna know how you play, and they'll be able to counteract against you, and you won't know how to react. So when you have a variety in attacking styles, the defenders and other coaches won't really have an understanding or won't really know how to defend against you, because if you try possession based and they counteract with something else, you have something else, another tactic that you can use to try to get to damage them, and or maybe they put in a certain players in the positions to defend against a certain style, but then you surprise them with a different style. And that's another thing that I like, is that these players that we have this year, they're able to adapt to different formations, different play styles, and that's good. That's a good thing that Gerson has brought to this team. It's more dynamic. So now we go to the 55th minute. Todd Warden passes the ball here. It looks like Zach Wright takes the shot, and it goes just a little bit too high up the crossbar. Then in the 16th minute, once again the Toros. See how this is the play that I really want to talk about. Okay, so so far in the highlight videos from the USL, it's mostly been, if it honestly, it's been all Toros. So Toros have been good on the attack, look good on the attack. They just need to be, like I said, they need to work on the finishing. So this play is really interesting. So this happened in the 60th minute. Todd Warden sends a through ball, a lobbed through ball to Chuy Enriquez. It goes a little bit too far up. The defender gets to the ball first, tries to jostle the ball and protect it so that it will go out of bounds on the goal line. Chuy Enriquez, instead of giving up and allowing the defender to let it go out, manages to go around the defender, wins the ball, and then dribbles it inside the box, takes the shot, but is deflected by the goalkeeper really, really well. And Delgado was there inside the box to help him out, but it looked like he had maybe like 2 defenders on him. Yes. So let me go ahead and take a screenshot of this. Take the screenshot of that, so that way you can see it. Or what I can also do, hold on. Let me go ahead, because I want you to see that. I want you to see this. Go ahead and add the source screen capture. This, yes. Man, I hope this works. This is the first time I actually use this. No, it's not working like it should. So let's go ahead and remove this. Screen capture, game capture, protect devices. See, I should have done this before, but I'm sure you understand. So let's go ahead and come on.
Fair from Tony Wall.
So, anyways, so you see in this play that Delgado was well marked in this play, and it really gave no other choice to Chuy Enriquez but to go for that shot. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, now let me go ahead and load it up here. All right, media file. All right. So there's the play for the most part. So you have right here, you have Chuy Enriquez. Go ahead and use the whiteboard. So you have Chuy Enriquez right here. Come on. Freehand. Oh, that seems legit. All right. The growing pains, growing pains. Okay. You have Chuy Enriquez right here. You have 3 defenders inside, 4 defenders actually, but this guy, he's kind of outside the play. So this right here, this is Delgado, and he's got 1, 2 players pretty much marking him. Let me go ahead and change color. Chuy Enriquez actually ends up coming in here and then takes the shot right towards the goal, which is deflected by the goalkeeper. And so that was, like I said, that was a pretty interesting opportunity for the Toros, and it shows the hustle that these players have in their game. That they're not going to let, they're not going to take any ball as lost. Okay, so up until the 70th minute, we actually have a close. This is the beautiful save by Nicholas Cordy. It was a long shot effort by St. Louis FC, and he dives he pretty much dove for the camera, but he needed to in order to get to it. And then here comes the goal. This is John Montaño. He goes past the defender, crosses the ball to Pablo Aguilar, who controls the ball in such a manner that the ball will go past him just a little bit, just enough to get past his defender and shoot in the first touch towards the second post. Almost impossible for the goalkeeper to save it. But then 5 minutes later, it seems like the Toros. Okay, so here's 81st minute. I'll go ahead and pause. I'm going to pause that. Okay, so the play before this one, it was really interesting because it was okay. I can go ahead and get rid of this and the whiteboard. It was interesting because it was a play where the defender, or the attacker for St. Louis was pretty much on the goal line towards the outside of the 18-yard box to the left. And he crosses the ball. I don't know if Nick Cordy thought that Kai Green deflected it or not, but I did see that it was weird because he tried to catch the ball right at the goal line, fails to do so, can't control that ball, and sends it for the corner kick, which then this happened. In that corner kick, we gave up the goal that led to the tie between the Toros and St. Louis FC. So, all right. So from what I can see, the St. Louis FC, most of the players, there are 3 St. Louis players are in the penalty spot area. Two Toros defenders. It looks like Kyle Adams and Todd Warden. I can't really make it out because it's kind of blurry. So, but Kyle Adams and another Toros defender are covering against 3 players. Okay, you have 2 outside the box. It looks like it's Pablo Aguilar and Chuy Enriquez. If not Chuy Enriquez, then it's Victor. No, I think this is Chuy. I think this is still Chuy because I think Victor Garza came in after the goal. So you have Pablo Aguilar outside the box. I'll go ahead and man, I wish I could actually screen capture. Nope. I'll have to deal with that later for next episode. But you do see 3, 2 outside the box. There's 2 St. Louis defenders or attackers outside the box. But here's the interesting part. At the 6-yard line box, you have one St. Louis attacker. You have 2 players, John Montaño and Kai Green, covering one person. You have one other St. Louis attacker right in front of Nick Cordy. You have one RGV defender in front of him. The way I see it, he should be behind the attacker and try to nudge him away from the goalkeeper. I think this is where the lack of experience kind of showed, because he should have done all he can to try to get the attacker out away from Nico Cordy's sight, from Nico Cordy's area, so that way he could move freely. And then you have two other players. You got one in the first post, which is fine, because technically you'll want to have one player in the first post. But you have somebody that's free. He's not marking anybody. And this player should be back here, making sure that these guys that are in the penalty spot area do not go in to the 6-yard box, and that's exactly what happened. If we continue the play, it looks like John Montaño. This is right before the corner kick is kicked. Pardon the redundancy. So it looks like John Montaño joins the other two defenders in the penalty spot area to try to block them. So you're 3 against 3 there. Okay, now we see that the defender that is covering that attacker that's right in front of Nico Cordy gets behind him. Go ahead and
impressive the way he gets into the
gets behind him, but because he's watching the ball, the St. Louis defender takes advantage of that and kind of takes advantage that the defender is trying, so this is the attacker and you have the RGV defender. So the RGV defender is trying to kind of nudge like that. And so he kind of sees that, and so he ducks out of the way, causing our defender to lose his balance and end up in front of the defender. The ball comes in, and that defender forgets about, and I dare to say it was that player that scored the goal. He forgets about him, leaves him in front of Nico Cordy. The ball lands to where two other St. Louis FC players. So it's a 2 against 3. But the St. Louis attacker gets to the ball first. The ball hits the crossbar. And then the other player that was on there is the one that taps it in for the goal. So they looked a little bit weak in set pieces. And Gerson Echeverry knows that they really need to work on defending set pieces, because it is very, very. You can't have them head the ball inside your 6-yard box. I mean, come on. At first, I wanted to pin the blame on Nick Cordy, but when you have an attacker in front of you that's not going to let you move, what more can you do? That's up to the defender to move that attacker out of the way and be able to give that space for your goalkeeper to move freely inside his own 6-yard box. Because I felt that if Nico Cordy was free to move out, there would have been a better chance that the ball could have been saved and taken out for another corner, or for starters, that I don't think the goal would have come, because he could have, like I said, he could have sent it out for a corner, or he could have maybe got into the ball and grabbed it or punched it out, whatever. But I'm hoping that Gerson and friends and his pupils have studied this goal for a long time, saw what they need to do, and fix it. I will actually record this and upload it as a separate video, kind of my analysis of the goals. So that in the 81st minute, they tied the game on us, and that was pretty much it for the game. It was a 1-1 tie. We lost 2 points at home, which really we should not do. And even Gerson said that. So speaking of Gerson, I'll go ahead and post the interview that he had right after the game, because, like I've mentioned before, unlike other coaches, he is very transparent, and he'll let you know what he thought was wrong, what needs to be worked on, and he's not afraid to call out specific players um, that did not do what he thinks should have been done at that point. So let's go ahead and listen to what Gerson Echeverry said after the match.
Estamos entrenando es algo un punto débil de nosotros de que tenemos que mejorar.
Y además sobre todo porque viene el primer gol en una jugada muy bien elaborada, el contragolpe, y después el gol cae, como dice casi la regla, que esos 5 minutos después son casi fatales, ¿no?
Falta de concentración, 2 balones que debemos de haber ganado, le damos un tiro de esquina y obviamente contra el viento es difícil y es algo de que aquí en casa tenemos que mejorar porque sabemos que cuando el viento está a favor del otro equipo, esos tiros de esquina, tiros libres, todos esos son muy peligrosos por ahora el factor del viento, entonces no podemos regalar esas cosas.
En lo personal, debutar en casa.
Espectacular, siempre rico. La hinchada estupenda, la cancha estupenda, todo. Lo único que fuéramos querido con un resultado mejor para que todos nos fuéramos ido con una sonrisa más grande.
Ahí estaremos siguiéndolo.
Muchas gracias.
Profe, en lo individual, Pablo Aguilar, de menos a más, empezó el partido repegado al centro, sin embargo estuvo mandando los balones y al final vino la recompensa del gol.
Sí, creo de que es algo de que lo tenemos jugando en otra posición diferente, está jugando más de 8 que de 10. Porque pues yo sé que Houston lo ve más como 8. Entonces tiene que aprender ciertos movimientos que son diferentes. Me gustaría que moviera el balón un poquito más rápido en ciertos lugares.
Hi. Anyways, so they asked them about the obviously what it felt like to be playing with at HGV Park, and so that he mentions to them, hey, you know what, it's a really good thing, we just wish we could have gotten the win, so that way the fans would have left with a bigger smile. They also asked them about what is it the fact that we score and then 5 minutes later, we give up a goal. And so he says, the wind was a factor, but it was more than anything, it was lack of concentration. We know that sometimes weather plays a factor in these games, and when you have the wind against you, you have to be very careful because free kicks, corner kicks, they're very dangerous when you have the wind against you, and so they need to work on that concentration as well. Now, they did ask him right now about Pablo Aguilar. The reporter asked him in Spanish, because he saw that Pablo Aguilar went from okay to really good play. He saw that he played in the middle of the field, but he was distributing the balls very well in the attack, and that in the end, he earned his reward for all of his work with the goal. And so the interesting thing is that Gerson Echeverry responds to him and says that he right now he's getting used to a different position because they're playing him more as an 8 type of player, midfielder, than a 10, which is a more center attacking midfielder, which is interesting because I heard people telling me that Pablo Aguilar is more of a cam than a CM, and so the fact that Wilmer Cabrera and the Houston Dynamo see him as more of an 8 than a 10. It's really interesting. Maybe it might have to do with the way the Dynamo system is, and what they want to implement not only for the Dynamo, for the Toros and for Brazos Valley. But it's just interesting to hear Gerson Echeverry explain why he was playing like it is, why they're playing him like it is. Not many coaches tell you that.
Y obviamente, cuando ya estaba más cerca a las 18, que haga lo que tiene que hacer.
So then he also noted that he felt that one of the criticisms that he has for Pablo Aguilar in that game was that he felt like he needs to get rid of the ball quicker, but not just like to whoever. He has to be smarter and react faster in order to move the ball as quick as he should in the attack. I mean, he did good, but he could have been a little bit quicker. But once he gets to the 18-yard box, he can do whatever he wants. He can try to shoot, try to look for for the assist. But outside, he's got to be quick with his distribution.
Lo que hizo, definió, se giró y le pegó muy bien y con eso salió el gol.
Los ajustes, profe, que tuvo que hacer durante la semana con los
jugadores. Talking about adjustments.
Los recortes que tuvieron que hacer, ¿cómo se sintieron en el campo? ¿Cómo se sintió usted en la banca?
No, desafortunadamente, afortunadamente, como lo quieras poner, no mandaron a ninguno porque ellos tienen bastantes lesiones y están con falta de jugadores. Entonces,
so they asked him about the Dynamo, how they tend to send in players, and Gerson says, honestly, during this week they did not send any players because the Dynamo right now needs they're kind of lacking on the roster because they have a lot of injuries so far. So they can't afford to send any Dynamo players down to RGV to get some minutes.
Entonces, esta semana no nos mandaron, todos los chicos vinieron trabajando, que en sí fue lindo porque nos dio la oportunidad que después de 6 semanas pudiéramos nosotros sacar 18 del grupo que viene trabajando desde que empezamos.
So he says one of the good things about this, the fact that the Dynamo did not send any players to the Toros, is that he was able to work with all of his team, all of his roster throughout the 6 weeks, and he was able to grab 18 for the game day roster that have been working together these past weeks, and not including a player that comes in at the last minute from the Dynamo. So that was something interesting as well. Let's go ahead and continue.
I thought overall it was decent. It was a decent effort. I thought the effort was good. I thought that at times defensively we were solid. I still don't like the fact that we gave the ball away. Our possession was not where I wanted to be. In the final third, we needed a little bit more clarity. I think our combination play needs to improve. But I thought overall the effort was fantastic. I thought that the way we covered defensively was pretty good. And so I'm happy. And obviously those jitters, the first game jitters, a lot of things that are different. And now, we're actually playing a opponent an opponent for points. So there's a different atmosphere, there's different vibe than just having a scrimmage. And I thought overall, I was happy with the performance of the guys. Obviously, those last 10 minutes and giving up a goal and a set piece is something that we've been harping on throughout the preseason that we need to improve upon, and today it bit us.
The big question coming in was how many chances you're going to create, how can you score goals. Were you happy with that?
I thought we got ourselves in very good spots and very good positions. Just the final pass was just not. It's just like there were times I think we were playing balls into space, we weren't finding guys, and we had plenty of looks on goal in which we could have. That I think we had 2 or 3 excellent looks that our pass was just not good enough.
What happened on the goal that you scored? What did you see from Pablo on that play?
Oh, well, it started with Montaño just making it very. We told him, hey, the guy's tired. I thought Wright had wore him out, and so Montaño's fresh with his pace. We knew he can get at him, so we made that change. He was fortunate enough to get behind him, and unlike the previous times, he actually found somebody, cut it back. Pablo turned, hit it, and just tucked it away, and so it was a really, really good goal for us.
Was there anything in particular that went wrong that allowed him to score the set piece? Any breakdowns?
Yeah, there was 2 opportunities in which we needed to break the play, whether it's either win the tackle or stop the ball, and we didn't. And so then obviously it went for a corner, and even in the corner I need to look who lost their mark, because there were 2 guys that were open, and that's not acceptable. And, we can't leave guys. We can't leave. I mean, you need to be man-to-man marking. Something we've been harping on throughout the preseason, and defensively someone lost their mark.
Is there anything that jumped out overall from the game that you say this is what we want to focus on going forward or try to improve?
Yes, our ball possession. Our ball possession needs to improve in order for us to be able to manage the game and dictate more of the game. I don't want to be a countering team. I want us to be up on the possessions. I mean, I'm looking at those stats. I don't necessarily agree with that, but we need it to be much, much better, and that's something that needs to improve. If not, we're going to be on our heels a lot, and that's not what I want, particularly when we're home.
All right, guys. So that was Gerson Echeverry. After the game for the post-match interview. So it is 8:10 right now, and so we'll go ahead and wrap it up for this week. Be sure, like I said, to check out our friends at BGN FM, the Beautiful Game Network. Check out the other USL podcasts like the USL Show, Back Chat Show, Play the Kids, etc., etc. Support USL podcasts, support American soccer podcasts, and so thank you all who joined me today. I hope to see you next week for the next episode of Down in the Valley. And so this was my name is Edson Ochoa. Hope to see you all again next week. And take care. And go Toros.